sir. I am Maman Endelero and I'm going to discuss about return demo Nav 213 submitted by Maman Endelero. General features on a nautical charts, symbol and abbreviations. Two symbology types comprising four symbology sets. US chart number 1 represents two types of symbology used for marine navigation. The symbols used on paper nautical charts and their digital raster image equivalents, and the corresponding symbols used to portray electronic navigational chart or ENC data on electronic chart display and information systems or ICDIS. Within these two types, four separate symbology sets are shown. These are described below. Paper chart symbols. INT, the international or INT symbols specified in the regulations for international INT charts and chart specifications of IHO, International Hydrographic Organization. These symbols are used by many countries around the world, including the United States. NOAA or NOAA. Symbols used on charts produced by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration or NOAA. When an INT symbol is not used, NOAA produces nautical charts for all U.S. waters, including the Great Lakes and U.S. territories. NGA. Symbols used on charts produced by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency or NGA. When an INT symbol is not used, NGA produces nautical charts for the U.S. military and for areas outside the U.S. waters. ICDIS symbols. ICDIS symbols used to portray ENCs on ICDIS navigation systems. Use of ICDIS is required for large commercial ships on international voyages. These symbols are specified in IHO specifications for chart content and display aspects of ICDIS. Symbols of ICDIS. That's the sample of symbols of ICDIS. Chart number, title, and marginal notes for letter A. Positions, distance, directions, and compass. So we move to another one. Chart dates. NOAA charts have two areas where dates are shown. At the top center of the chart is the date of the first edition of the chart. In the lower left corner of the chart is the current edition number and date. Additionally, NOAA charts show the cleared through dates in the lower left corner of the chart to indicate the notice to mariner dates that chart is updated to. NGA charts similarly have two dates as well. At the top center of the chart is the date of the first edition of the chart. In the lower left corner of the chart is the current chart edition number, date, and barcode information. The edition date will contain a statement indicating what notice to mariner the NGA's chart has been corrected to. Any subsequent change will be published in the notice to mariners. Charts, symbols, and abbreviations. So as we see, the number 1 is sector light, number 2 are ADs, number 3 rock awash the vertical datum, number 4 are east anchorage, number 5 rock 3 meter above datum depth at star, number 6 rock bottom, and many others. Important symbols and abbreviations. Chart symbols, danger in line. So as we see the circle dotted. Wreck, least depth unknown but usually deeper than 20 meters. Visible wreck. And many others. Abbreviations that are important. FIG or FIR, regular flash. 1.5 seconds every 4 seconds. Lateral port green light or starboard red light buoy or fix 8 FIY. Regular flash 1.5 seconds every 4 seconds. Special purpose buoys yellow light. Tides are the periodic rise and fall of sea level at a particular place. When the sea level rises to its great height, it is known as high tide. The water level drops to its lowest height, it is known as low tide. What causes tide? The gravitational pull of the moon and the sun have an effect on the oceans, raising the water level on one side of the earth and causing a high tide. Because of the rotation of the earth, centrifugal force causes the water level to rise on opposite side of the earth. At the same time, this means that the high tide is experienced at two places in the ocean simultaneously. The rotation of the earth also means that the high tide moves around the earth from east to west. High tide, when the water level is higher, occurs every 12 hours and 25 minutes, and low tide, when the water level is lower, follows 6 hours and 13 minutes after each high tide. Tide's characters are the rate of rise and fall is not uniform. Tides are from low water. The tide begins to rise slowly at first but at an increasing rate until it is about halfway to high water. The rate of the rise then decreases until high water is reached and the rise ceases. The falling tide behaves in a similar manner. 3 tidal patterns. Journal tidal pattern has a single high and low tide each lunar day. Have a tidal period of 24 hours and 50 minutes. And the semi-journal tidal pattern has 2 high tides and 2 low tides each lunar day. The tidal period is 12 hours and 20 minutes. Mixed tidal pattern may have characteristics of both journal and semi-journal tides. So it means it has successive high tides and low tides will have significantly different heights, a condition called journal inequality. Mixed tides commonly have a tidal period of 12 hours and 25 minutes, but they may also exhibit journal periods. So here we go. The effects of tides on shipping industry or the ships. In some harbors, laden ships can only enter or leave during the period from a few hours before high tide to a few hours after high tide, when the water depth will accommodate the growth of the ship. At low tide, the water will be too shallow for the ship to move and she will hit the bottom of the harbor. This means the ships needs to schedule their arrival or departure from some ports around the high tides at those ports. Ships' mooring lines tighten as the tides rises and slacken when the tide goes out. This means that ship's crews will have to adjust the mooring lines. Most modern ships are fitted with equipment that automatically adjusts mooring lines at the tide rises or fall. Where the tidal range is great, the flow of water into or out of the harbor at the change of the tides can cause dangerous currents in or near the harbor entrance. In some areas, such as the coast of eastern Canada or in some areas of Europe, the tidal range is so great that harbors need to have locks, areas with watertight gates, that maintain the level of the water inside the harbor. Ships can only enter and leave the harbor during the period of shortly